In the meantime, ensuring Maine lobsters are healthy and stocked for many decades to come. That is the goal of the Maine Lobstermen's Association and the New England Fishermen's Stewardship Association.
That's why they're launching a season-wide campaign to promote conservation through the V-notching method. Arc Maine's Asia Reed joins us now live from Widgery Wharf in Portland with more on the effort. And Asia, what exactly is V-notching?
Good morning, Katie and Stephanie, and great question. We're going to get into a minute here as to exactly what V-notching is, but it's really important to use this method to ensure that there are enough lobsters for our kids, our grandkids, and generations to come. Joined with me here now live is Christian. He's a Maine young lobsterman. Good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, welcome aboard. Good morning.
Yeah, so you caught some lobster here.
Yep, fresh caught this morning.
We're going to be doing a V-notching demonstration. But before we get into that, tell me what that is.
Yeah, so V-notching is a practice that Maine lobstermen have done for generations to ensure sustainability in the lobster fishery. And what they did is collectively they agreed that female lobsters bearing eggs were more valuable being protected rather than being harvested for a lobster roll or for a steamed dinner. So they thought, well, we got to set these things back free. And in order to ensure that other lobstermen are going to continue to set them free, they devised a plan to V-notch the flipper so that all lobstermen in perpetuity can see that that female had eggs and was a successful breeder, and she goes back to get free food for the rest of her life. This one's going home for lunch, but a female lobster would be harvested by future fishermen and would actually be let go in order to produce more baby lobsters.
How long does that notch stay on a lobster for?
It'll stay there for a few molts. So lobsters, every so often, every year or so, they'll shed and they'll actually get larger like a snake does. So the V-notch will actually get a little bit smaller over time. So what we do in good practice is the old timers all taught us to, when the notch gets a little bit smaller, you actually make it a little bit larger so that future fishermen can see, even when she molts, that there was a notch there in the past and that she was a breeder and she deserves to go back overboard to make more lobsters.
Lobster is so vital to our economy right here in Maine, and that draws so many people to our state. How valuable is it to ensure that we're making sure that there's enough lobsters for years and years to come?
Well, it's absolutely imperative, and this is just one of many practices that Maine lobstermen do to ensure sustainability in the biomass and in our fishery. And frankly, it's so important to protect it, not just for me. Of course, I'll catch more lobsters because she has more lobsters and she lays more eggs, but I'll have more lobsters for my fishermen, my fellow fishermen, my children, and my grandchildren.
And you're a very young Maine lobsterman. That's kind of a rare sight here. How important is that as well to make sure that those younger generations are getting out there and getting into this field?
You know, it's really funny. I think a lot about how there's generations of lobster fishermen before me who never knew me, but knew to take care of the resource so that I could fish. And it is my duty to carry that torch on and ensure that there are lobsters for future generations to fish just like myself.
All right, Christian, thank you so much for your time today, and thanks for the demonstration.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, you guys, we'll be checking in one more time at 10 o'clock on Arc Maine with another fisherman who's going to be showing us the ropes as well. We're live in Portland for Arc Maine. Asia Reed, back to you, Stephanie and Katie.
Learning something new.
That is fascinating stuff. All right, Asia, thank you.
Welcome back to Arc Maine, your only live and local newscast at 10 a.m. Making sure Maine lobster are healthy and stocked for generations to come. That is the goal of the Maine Lobstermen's Association and the New England Fishermen's Stewardship Association.
That's why they're launching a season-wide campaign to promote conservation through the V-notching method. Arc Maine's Asia Reed joins us live from Widgery Wharf in Portland with more on the initiative. Good morning, Asia.
Good morning, Katie and Stephanie. We're live right from a lobster boat in the Old Port, and I'm joined here today with a fourth-generation lobsterman. It's Dustin Delano. Thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're talking about the V-notch method. Can you tell our viewers at home what that exactly means?
Absolutely. So it's one of the sustainability measures that lobstermen have put into place, decades ago, and it protects the female lobsters and allows for them to continue their reproduction cycles. So basically, what lobstermen do is they make a notch in this flipper right here, and they toss that back into the water so that as that lobster continues to be caught over and over, other lobstermen know that they can't keep that and they throw it back. It's one of the most important sustainability options that we have as fishermen. and it really has a huge contribution to increasing egg production in the state of Maine.
How important is it for these two associations to work together on this initiative?
So it's very important because you know, the MLA and NEFSA have come together to promote this practice to encourage fishermen to continue notching as we have for generations. But obviously, the more you can increase that V-notch rate, the more you can increase egg production and the more lobsters that will be on the bottom and will have for the future generations.
How important is this for years to come? I mean, lobstering is so vital to Maine and the economy. What does the future of fishing look like in the state of Maine if something like this is kept up?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of every fisherman, right? We want to pass down to the next generation what we inherited ourselves. And so, you know, whatever we can do to continue, you know, this cultural heritage for the future is exactly what we need to do.
Should every single lobsterman be using this approach when they're catching female lobsters?
Absolutely. Every lobsterman should be. When they catch an egg-bearing female, the right thing to do is just to notch that and toss it back over, because the more that we can increase egg production, you know, the more lobsters that there'll be on the bottom and the better future that we can provide for the next generation.
All right, great information here. Dustin, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, we'll have much more on this story coming up on our sister station at noon on CBS 13. We're live in Portland for Arc Maine. Asia Reed, back to you, Stephanie and Katie.
Yeah, learning something new there,
I
Asia.
know. I think that it's awesome that they're thinking about generations to come of
Yeah.
lobstermen and fishermen and how to help everybody. You know?
I do remember seeing something on TikTok about this, like a lobsterman in Maine who will notch the female
Jacob
lobsters.
Knowles.
Yes, so
Yeah,
this
he's
is
so
just
good on
great
TikTok.
to keep this trend going.
I think so.
I do too, and he's viral. I think he's very
Uh-huh.
fun on TikTok too. I sometimes get in ruts watching him catch things.
That's
It's
so
fun.
cool.
So I think he's over in down East Maine or the mid coast, so he's a little bit further away.
Hey.
But he definitely has that Mainer accent, which makes me laugh too.
That's so fun. I mean, lobster sounds pretty good today.